All right, there is a lot happening in Canada yet again today. There's been a recent announcement, a financial announcement with the Bank of Canada. Chrystia Freeland also said something about mortgages. There's also a massive Conservative conference happening in Ottawa right now, and it got crashed by a climate activist who got the boot. I mean, there's so many things to cover in today's video, so you're going to want to stick around. I'd really like to encourage you to stick around for the entire thing if you can, as well as Justin Trudeau getting heckled. But, I mean, that's a daily occurrence. And now that I mention it, almost all the other things are also daily occurrences. Welcome back to another video, everybody. Before we get into it, I do want to encourage everyone to smash the like button and subscribe if you haven't yet already. We are very close to 400,000 subscribers, which is a really big milestone. It doesn't really mean anything other than, wow, we're doing something that the government really doesn't want us to do. We are spreading awareness about their corruption. Speaking of corruption, let's get into the polls. You have the Conservatives sitting at 208 projected seats, bottom line of 180, top end of 226, and you need 170 for a majority. Now, this hasn't budged. It hasn't budged yet. I've been saying it for days, if not weeks now, that I do think that their bottom end projection will be around where their current seat projection is. It's going to happen. I hope, I'm optimistic that before the summer break in Parliament, you got a couple more months here, you're going to start to see those polls numbers just creep up slowly for the Conservatives, and they're still at 99% likely winning the most seats and 99% likely of winning a majority government. So no changes really in the polls. But who knows? Maybe tomorrow will be a new day, especially since Pierre Poilievre has made this appearance here at the Conservative conference. Pierre Poilievre slams Justin Trudeau for being completely illiberal. Here you go.
Far, but in an extreme direction. I disagree. Because what Justin Trudeau has done is not only to break with the common sense Canadian consensus, it's to break with liberalism itself. Liberals used to believe in laissez-faire. Let people make their own decisions and live their own lives. Different strokes for different folks. Remember that? And people could more or less think for themselves, decide for themselves, live their lives in their own ways. Pierre Elliott Trudeau famously plagiarized when he said that the government had no place in the bedrooms of the nation. Now, his son wants the government to be in every room of your house, and your business, and your wallet, and your bank account, and your internet account. He wants to be everywhere, always. See, the thing is, it's not that Justin Trudeau is too liberal. It's that he's not liberal at all. He is deeply, deeply illiberal.
Well, in fact, Justin Trudeau, for those who somehow are watching this video on this channel, aren't already aware of the comments he's made in the past, he admires China's dictatorship. We don't know what Justin Trudeau is right now, but he's certainly not liberal. Liberalism has shifted so far to the radical left that it's not recognizable, which is why you have purple-haired, nose-piercing, woke liberals, which there's nothing inherently wrong with having purple hair or nose piercings, but you know the type. I have to speak to the manager, the ones that just go, ah! They yell whenever they don't get their way. That's liberalism now. It doesn't make any sense. Canada has historically been a liberal country, politically speaking. I mean, I know there's always been a tug of war between conservatives and liberals, but for the past many years, most of the mainstream people in Canada have been liberal. Chances are, if you're watching this, you grew up old school liberal, or maybe your parents or grandparents were liberal, but that now is like light conservative. It's just not recognizable what old liberal from 30 years ago used to be. They've lost their way, and it's quite sad because it seems like liberals are going to be tanking their ship for the next 15, 20 years. And don't take that out of context. I'm not sad that Justin Trudeau is doing that to the party. It's just that I never thought there would be such a radical party here in Canada. We're pretty level-headed, except for the woke radical liberals. Speaking of woke radical liberals, we got Trudeau himself doing a bit of a press conference here. Let's take a look.
But no government, no leader should simply be a passive receiver of information and intelligence. We have a role to play in asking questions, on thinking critically, on encouraging further work, on questioning sources and pulling out contradictions, that actually is part and parcel of the work that we all need to do to make sure that everything is done to keep Canadians safe. It is a very active role that we play in constant conversation with our top intelligence officials as they make decisions around what it is that is credible and pertinent to share with us. And we will continue to listen very closely, very carefully to everything they put forward and make sure that we are all doing everything necessary to keep Canadians safe. That's why we watched closely the 2016 American election, where there was challenges around Russian interference, and where we actually saw during the 2017 French presidential election the officials actually step forward and highlight certain amounts of disinformation. We realized that Canada didn't necessarily have the mechanisms for that, so we developed them in Canada. We created a panel of 5 top civil servants to oversee our elections. We brought in 2018 during the Canadian presidency for the G7.
That word of misinformation and disinformation is so scary, especially now that we're heading into election seasons, right? You got the American election coming up later this year. You got the Canadian election coming up supposedly next year. And according to Justin Trudeau, if it's on schedule or whatever the hell he said yesterday when he testified in kangaroo court on foreign election interference, that weird little slip up that he did was like, yeah, if the election happens, like just casually brought that up. Trudeau, that liberal regime, right, that so much admires the communist dictatorship of China, there's so many reasons to believe that they're going to be weaponizing this misinformation, disinformation terms and to try to censor everybody. And it's very, very scary. And let me know down in the comments if you were as terrified as I am, or just even terrified. You don't have to be as terrified, but it's pretty frightening. Speaking of frightening, we have Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland announced measures Thursday aimed at making homeownership a reality for younger Canadians. Yeah, that's right. She has moved amortization on houses for new buyers. Instead of it being 20 years or 25 years, it's now 30 years. You have Ron Butler breaking it down. 30-year amortization on CMHC mortgages, mostly a nothing burger. What does it mean? Those who buy a less than $1 million home with strict income and debt ratio rules, less than 20% down payment, and paying a huge mortgage default insurance premium, amortization was 25 years, and now it's 30. Therefore, using 30-year amortization, more people would qualify for a bigger mortgage and, by extension, a more expensive home. What's the impact on housing prices? Likely nothing, and at most 2 or 3% in some regions, because less than 20% down payment mortgages are much fewer. Decades ago, when I started in mortgages, CMHC and the 2 other insurers represented 45% of purchases. Now it's less than 18% in Canada, in regions like GTA and Vancouver, less than 8% because of batshit crazy house prices. This is wild. You have the current Canadian Liberal government that is pulling out all the stops to try to appease the people, right? Mostly younger people, because it's for, I believe it was for first home buyers or for new homes. And it's insane. They're trying to farm votes from impressionable people that, don't have a house, that can't afford a house currently, saying, here's all the incentives. That's why they've come out with these first-time home buyers programs. That's why they've now bumped amortization another 5 or 10 years. I don't know. Are you falling for it? Are these good tactics? Is it working? Is it going to be enough to get a few more extra votes so that maybe they can hold on to some power? Because according to the polls, according to the social norm, it does not seem likely that the Liberal government has any hope whatsoever. So they increase budgets, right? They're spending billions, not millions, billions of dollars on, child programs to try to pull on the heartstrings of parents such as myself. And I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place, not in terms of voting for Liberals, but the programs themselves inherently are not that bad of an idea. Some of them, whoa, some of them, right? Like kids getting fed at school. That sounds good. And you would be a little bit weird to say, well, I don't think kids should be fed. But when you look at the root cause of why kids can't be fed by their own parents, is because unaffordability is on the rise in Canada. So is it a good program, or is it putting a Band-Aid on a water leak, right? And these are the kind of things that you have to look at. So personally, I don't think that these Liberal tactics are working, but let me know down below in the comments if they are working for you or for people that you know of. Now we have Pierre Poilievre's rally, or not his rally, sorry, this conservative networking panel where the opening video of Pierre giving a speech. This is what happened moments after he gave one of those speeches. Some lady showed up yelling during Pierre Poilievre's speech. Not sure if she paid the price to get in or snuck in. Either way, she was escorted out fairly quickly.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Do you want 100,000
It didn't really faze anybody. It did not really faze anybody. We have a different angle here.
100,000, 400 people, fire the lights!
Bye, Felicia.
My plan to axe the tax. There's such an outburst of enthusiasm.
The support for Pierre is unmatched. There is no other politician in Canada that can pull that type of crowd and that type of enthusiasm. I mean, you've seen, I'm sure, photos and very underwhelming videos of Justin Trudeau at his rallies or speeches that he gives, and it's forced blue collar workers that that are in the mills or wherever they are, right, on a job site, and they obviously are told by their boss and higher ups that the prime minister's coming. And you have to stand here, and you have to. Not that you choose to, but you have to. And the faces of the people in those videos goes to show that not many hardworking Canadians at least support Justin Trudeau. And then when you have, in a room filled with people not on a job site, it's usually significantly older people that are falling asleep. This has been repetitive. It's out there. I don't have it pulled up right now. You can either trust me, bro, or you can go do the research yourself. But the people that support Justin Trudeau, they're either asleep or they're forced to support him for a limited amount of time. And if you don't believe me, we got another video of Justin Trudeau being heckled. Stop the war machine, stop the corruption, stop the lies. Trudeau and the French Prime Minister Gabriel Attal are greeted by Johnny Rowe as they leave the House of Commons in Ottawa. This is by Daisy Media on X. Let's take a look.
I made a sign today, which is bleeding. There we are. I should move this. It's crying. It's bleeding. Building us?
We want an end to the lies and the corruption. Stop the war machine. Stop the COVID lies. Your lies have left a wake of destruction and death and decay all across our country. You and your policies. Stop the lies. Your lies and corruption are destroying the country. War lies and COVID lies. Liar. Corruption. Stop the war machine. Stop the corruption. Stop the lies. You're a failure. Everyone hates you. Stop the lies. Stop the corruption. Corruption. War machine. Warmongers. Stop the war machine. Stop the war machine. Stop the lies. Stop the corruption.
There we go. We got a little tyrant patrol.
Liars. Warmongers. Corruption. Everywhere we look.
had something to say there, Johnny. Well, that was kind of perfect timing, do you think?
Pretty
For
good.
a tyrant patrolling?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
You got two birds with one stone. You got the Prime Minister of Canada and the Prime Minister, or the Prime. I called him the President earlier. My bad. The Prime Minister of France. Both are very much not liked by their own people. Let me know down in the comments how you interpreted that clip. If you liked it, if you like seeing Justin Trudeau getting heckled, we certainly have no shortage of those clips on this channel. Next up, you have a bit of a scary fact here. Government corrupt on X saying Pierre Poilievre predicting that Mark Carney will be replacing Justin Trudeau should horrify everybody. If Mark Carney becomes Prime Minister of Canada, people will be wishing they had Justin Trudeau back. Carney is possibly the most evil piece of scum around today. Wow, that's a pretty heavy statement. That's wild. Let me know down in the comments what you think about that, because this is something that Pierre Poilievre has said that's kind of gone unnoticed quite a bit in the House of Commons and in interviews and stuff like that. I mean, it is terrifying. It's hard to think that anybody could be worse than Justin Trudeau, but there are people out there that are a little bit more competent than Trudeau with their speech and their motives, at least, that could likely cause more damage than Justin Trudeau. He just seems like a lost boy at this point. It doesn't seem like Trudeau's heart is really in it. And I've mentioned this, or it was mentioned, not by me, but by Justin Trudeau's half-brother in a previous video. Tucker Carlson is supposed to be interviewing, or has already interviewed, Justin Trudeau's half-brother. There's a video about the lead up to that on this channel, where Trudeau's half-brother said, you know, Trudeau signed a contract for work. He signed up wanting to do the first half, and he doesn't want to do the second half, which is where he's at right now, is this second term, right? And it's just, you can tell that his heart is not in it. Next up, we got Justin Trudeau's Environment Committee chair revealed why the Liberals refused to hand over proof that the carbon tax reduces emissions. There is no proof. We finally know what Trudeau's radical environment minister has been hiding from Canadians. You won't believe this.
My understanding is there is no, there are estimates, there's modeling estimates of how much the price on carbon will reduce greenhouse gas emissions. My understanding, and maybe I'm wrong, is that there is no data specifically stating that the price on carbon resulted in an X amount of reduction in greenhouse gas emissions, and I don't even think that's possible, quite frankly. There is no data specifically stating that the price on carbon resulted in an X amount of reduction in greenhouse gas emissions, and I don't even think that's possible, quite frankly.
It's a little scary, because that's the whole reason why they're trying to squeeze us. They're trying to make it unaffordable. At least that's my interpretation and understanding based off what I've heard and seen on social media and in the news is, it's not actually injecting cash into the air or environment to fix the climate, but it's by squeezing people out of ever wanting to own or be able to afford to own gas or diesel or fossil fuels, and forcing people through cost to switch to electric. But the problem with that is it's still significantly cheaper, at least up front, to pay for gas and diesel. So their plan is a slow bleed, and that is working. I think everybody is feeling the pinch of that. It's just now a matter of free will. And I think most people don't really see the long-term benefits of everybody in the masses switching to EVs. And that's just the price on vehicles. There's also, you can't switch to electric blueberries or electric strawberries. So the carbon tax isn't just, crushing us at the fuel pumps. It's also crushing us in almost every other way. And that's the unfortunate reality of Canada right now. But I'd like to pass the question off to you. How do you feel about this? What do you think their goal is with the whole carbon tax? And what do you think they're going to do with the money? And is it working? Have you switched to electric vehicle? Have you switched to electric blueberry blueberries and strawberries, or are you still on regular old food and regular old fossil fuels? Let me know down below in the comments. That's where we're going to end today's video, folks. Thanks so much for watching. I'd like to encourage you all to smash the like button and subscribe if you haven't yet already. And I hope you consider turning on post notifications. It's that little bell icon that shows up once you subscribe. It just adds a layer of insurance so you can actually be notified of upcoming videos. And I will see you all in the next one. Bye for now.